couldn't roll. Yep. Ricky the rock that could not roll. Over the lake and past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top of the hill to take a view and then roll back down, the way rocks love to do. Kay was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was a lava who was not to be taken for granted. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, grumpy old Egbert rolled with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Leslie had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. But one trait they all seemed to share was that every rock was shaped like a ball, and because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass and past the lake and over the knoll. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat, you see. He couldn't roll because one side was flat. "What part of this is supposed to be fun?" says the rock. His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried. "I'm sorry, I just can't." But the rocks were determined. They would surely solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way up to the grassy peak. They pushed him down the hill, yelling, "Keep rolling," but poor Ricky just slid. He didn't roll. Well, the rocks weren't done. Not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick so that he would be round, and gave him gobs of glue so they would stick. They were proud of themselves. This would work. But Ricky could still not roll. He just sort of bounced. Well, they pushed, they pulled, they tried every which way to get Ricky to roll. By the end of the day, nothing had worked just like Rick had expected. He ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There's just no way. So I'll sit off the side and watch you play." But his friends couldn't quit. They were here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another. So they pondered and they thought, each straining their brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. That's when it hit the smart stone Stu. "Eureka!" he shouted. "I know just what to do." He explained to them they would get Ricky to tumble. "My plan is pure genius." Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake, where they gathered up mud they could pile. On the flat side of Rick, they created a mound, and they shaped and smoothed and sculpted till he was round. Then when the rain dried up and the sun came up, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. And they gathered up vines and colorful feathers and wrapped it all around Rick to keep it together. And this is Ricky all round. When the last knot was tied, it was tied well, and the work was done. There was only one step left, was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold. Then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock could roll. And he rolled. So Bri, the ladybug, who was there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought as she watched her friends play on the hill, there are always a way if there's a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, there's always hope. The end.